Hello, athletes, and welcome to NIL Cheat Codes by Influencer. Today, we are going to be working on and talking through how to take your social media brand to the next level. My name is Peyton St. George. I am a product success manager at Influencer. I was a former softball student athlete at Duke University, where I played for 5 years. My fifth year was the first year of NIL, and still play my sport professionally with Athletes Unlimited. Really, to set the stage here, just knowing that social media is the driving force behind NIL, we pulled a stat with all influencer transactions in 2022. Well over half of those were on social media. So this is to say that it is important for you to build your brands, grow your following, and really use the platform that you have as a student athlete to your advantage to maximize with NIL in your 3 to 5 year college shelf life. So to put this in perspective, really how to combine your athletic performance and your branding initiative, it's important to know that these two things do go hand in hand. And when put together, obviously, the better you perform on the field and the better your branding initiative is, your NIL earnings are going to grow. This is also to say that some of our highest earners never even step on the court or the field or the track. So your athletic performance is not a non-negotiable when it comes to your branding initiative, but when you do put those together, your earnings do have the potential to grow. It's also important to note that there is no dormant period in social media. Even if you are in the off season, that is the best time to post. Same as when you are in season and in postseason, just knowing that social media is a part-time job all year round. Growing your brand, there is no dormant period for growing your brand. If we were to put our followers and our NIL value in perspective, a lot of corporations, businesses, and brands, they tend to look at you the same. So just knowing that you're taking part in a partnership, so trying to put some sort of value, trying to start treating your social media brand as a corporation itself. So if we were to assign values, and these are rhetorical, if we were to assign values to your followers, in the off season, your value per followers is not zero. It still has a small value there. We'll say about $20. Just knowing that as your length of season continues, your NIL value per follower will inevitably increase. So when you're in the off season, it's going to stay there at about a baseline. When you're in season, you obviously are playing games, are on TV, you have more content of yourself in your jersey, those in-game action shots. When you're in postseason, this value inevitably will also grow, almost more than doubling your baseline that you were in the off season. So going back to what I said previously, there is no dormant period in social media, but just knowing that when you do have a big moment or your team does reach postseason, the height of your season, you want your social media to be ready. So when you hit the spotlight, you have that game-winning shot, that walk-off home run, and a business or brand does find your page and they do like what you have to offer, you want your page to be ready for them to work with you. A few things to take into account here. Obviously, NIL starts with social media. Social media starts with content. With your content, it's really about having a good mix of what we like to call your inside the lines and your outside the lines. Your inside the lines being content of you and your jersey, inside the lines of the field, of the track, of the court, of the pool, wherever you may be. This is content that people know and love from you. It's also content that people expect. So this content, while it might do really, really well, brands and businesses are going to have a really hard time trying to decipher what your personal brand is if this is all you post. So if you were to look at your social media page and you realize your last 9 posts are of you in a jersey, think of a social media post that you're doing for an NIL brand. If a brand comes to you and they say, hey, we want you to market our product, it's going to stick out like a sore thumb when all you've been posting is content of you in a jersey. So not to say that you shouldn't post this, but you should start mixing in a little bit of outside the lines. You want your post to the post that you're doing for the brand to seamlessly mesh into everything that you've been posting. So try to have a good balance of these, showcase what you're doing on the field and those big moments. For me, that was those post strikeout moments, those pump up photos. On the other side of that, showcase any passions or hobbies or interests you might have. This was a summer I went skydiving, just showing things that you like to do when you go into the locker room after a game, you put on your street clothes. Who are you as a student? This is really how you can start to grow your brand, build your brand, showcase a little bit of you, who you are outside of your sport. A few cheat codes here just to help you get started on social media. While they may seem obvious, a lot of athletes don't take advantage of them enough. The first being collaboration. So Make sure you're collaborating with your team account, your athletic department, even the teammates you have, and even the brands you are working with. As we all know, anytime you collaborate with a post, the followers of that page you collaborate with will also see your handle, your picture, your profile. So the more places you can get your handle on, the better. This is going to give you a good opportunity to reach multiple platforms, but also reach people that do not follow you. Another method of this is boosting your own post. So this was something I often liked to do. You're essentially investing back into your brand. So spend $5, $10, $15 of your NIL income, put it back in your social media, make your post an ad. Again, this is a great way to get your post on the feeds and accounts of people that do not follow you. Another, while it might seem obvious, is engaging with content that features you and even your teammates and your school to increase your engagement numbers. So this video that I've circled here is the most viewed video on NCAA softball. This was a game that I was playing in. I got a really hard hit line drive back to me, and it got, at this point, it's almost up around 10 million views. This video still circulates on my page 2 years later. I am the first person to go and repost it on my story. I remember the day I commented on this video, making some sort of remark about me being the one in the circle. I got over 200 followers just because I commented on it. So I wasn't initially tagged in it. Duke softball was tagged in it. But because I commented on it, I was showing that I was the person in the video. There was already a lot of interactions in the comment sections, in the repost, and the likes. People liked that I commented. They wanted to follow me. They wanted to see more of this. So continue to engage with content that features you. Again, the more places you can get your handle on of profiles that do not follow you, the better. Finding your passion and using it to build your brand. Now, this might seem a lot easier said than done, but again, this is really how you can start to peel back the layers of your brand and who you are outside of being an athlete. For me, that was mental health. And so the photo you see here is a photo that I was talking to with a lot of my teammates about why I wear a green ribbon on every game. And that's because I'm obviously very passionate about mental health. I want to be someone that shows my advocacy for it. I'm also someone who experienced my own struggles with mental health. So this started to get some notice from the commentators, from people that follow me. And so one of my teammates encouraged me to take this to my social media. And I am so glad that I did. It opened up a piece of my brand about me that not a lot of people might have known or knew people that followed me. And outside of being a softball player, this really added a lot of value and diversity to my brand as well. And so ESPN saw this. They asked me to be a part of a feature that they ran in the month of May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month. And the feature they did after we went through the interview played in between innings of the biggest game of my life in college that I was pitching. It was a super regional at UCLA. This feature played during that game on primetime on ESPN2. And I got a lot of followers from that just because people realized, wow, this athlete has something apart from softball, that her brand that she can use to add diversity. So mental health awareness and softball, while the two are not mutually exclusive, when I put them together, it really grows my brand and it allows me to use my platform to also amplify something I'm passionate about. So you never know what's going to come out of the opportunities that you have when you bring something you're passionate about to your social media. It can be an interest, it can be a hobby. The more niche it is, the better. The more you're going to be able to relate to brands who want to work with you. Knowing what sells, this is really, really important because you can post your NIL content and you can look at basic metrics, but until you really tap into those on the back end, by turning your accounts into a business account, you do get access to a little more analytics. So you want to know how your followers are interacting with the content you post. So with these two posts, it was for the same brand. The one on the left, I am introducing the company to my feed. Obviously, I play softball. I use this brand. It makes sense for me to partner with them. So this got 3,100 likes. Obviously, I'm featured in the content as well, which does help. The post on the right I did a few months later. It looks like lazy content because it was. I remember I got home super late the night before and I realized, oh shoot, I have a deliverable I have to complete that I have yet to do. So I tried to organize the gear as nicely as I could. I put it on social media, checked a box, and I could look at this and say 3,100 likes compared to 640. I can check off my contract that it's been done and I can move on. Or I can go into the back end and I can specifically look at the amount of accounts reached. So these are numbers that obviously give us a little bit more insight as well as some other metrics in there once you do change your account to be a creator or a business profile. The number here on the left, which is over 100,000 now, This is also a number I can use and I can take back to the brand I'm working with. I can leverage a current contract I have. I can also take these numbers to brands I want to work with and say, this is why you should work with me. So when a brand is investing free product or resources or money into you, they are investing their time and their efforts into you. They are looking for a rate of return. What can you give them to show them that they have made a good investment? Something such as this. This is cold hard facts. These are numbers that they cannot lie with and cannot argue with. And so this is something where you can take this to brands you are working with and strengthen that relationship. You can also take this to brands that you want to work with and say, this is how effective my posts are on social media. This is how much engagement I am getting. So make sure you're getting access to these metrics so you can use them to the best of your ability. Be proactive. So this is a huge cheat code that not a lot of athletes are often doing. And if you want to work with a brand, if you want something, make sure you go get that. You're being proactive. You're reaching out. Brands want to work with athletes who are passionate about them because they know you're going to create good content for them. If you're proactive, and for example, this is a screenshot here on the right, the very first day that NIL came into effect, July 1st, 2021, I thought, okay, what are some things I already use, or what are some brands I frequently visit or food I frequently eat? Chipotle being number one on that list of brands I wanted to work with. So I remember I sent this DM to Chipotle. What's a Duke student athlete got to do to get a Chipotle sponsorship? Not thinking anything of it, just shooting my shot, being proactive. You'll see a few weeks later, they reached out. And to my surprise, I was ecstatic. And so they said, check your rewards count, fill out this form. And when I went back to check my app a few days later, I had saw that I would get 20 free meals for a social media post. So I thought this was the coolest thing ever. I was eating good for the next month, 20 free meals. And so this is all something that came out of me sending a simple DM. So just knowing that being proactive, you're going to put yourself at a better chance of brands to find you and want to work with you. They also, again, love passionate athletes. So don't be afraid to humbly brag about yourself. Put yourself out there. It might be a little uncomfortable at first, but you'll get better with reps and with time. Here's a few starters you can use on the left. Instead of just saying, hey, and I probably could have made my message a little more clear here and a little more specific about why I wanted to work with them. Instead of just saying, I am X school athlete, get a little detail just so they know that, hey, you are truly passionate about their brand and you are going to make good content around it. This is one of my favorite examples of me being proactive. So I realized, what is something I can do that just makes sense? What is a way I can give back to my community out in Durham, North Carolina? And I realized the Durham Bulls, the minor league baseball team, was something that I was frequently already doing. And so I thought, what better way to give back to my community and the baseball and softball community than trying to partner with the minor league team? I thought that the baseball team at Duke would be all over this already. I thought athletes all around the country would already be doing this already. And so after doing some research, I realized there was no NCAA athlete at the time who had partnered with a minor league team. So I thought, why don't I think outside the box a little bit? Why don't I reach out to them, with some help and see what I can do? And so I remember they had come back and they said, NIL is not really something that we've thought about. We don't really know what that partnership would look like. And so really from the ground up, we built that out, really what an ambassador program would look like. And so for me, that was doing a press release. Really looks like an NLI signing day all over again. I got a lot of really good press from it. They did too. I was in a marketing campaign for their women's merchandise. I was on their website. I had my own ticket link I could make commission off of. I was gluten-free, so they were bringing out gluten-free food trucks to the games for me to review. Did a lot of press, TikToks, Instagram posts with the mascot. And then even when my softball team went to super regionals, being on the cover of their play ball. So this was something that was really cool. And this was also something that the Durham Bulls was not actively looking to do until we prompted them. And so just knowing that you can create deals out of thin air, you just have to be proactive. Even if someone says no, that doesn't necessarily always mean no. Maybe you check back in a few weeks, in a few months, maybe they weren't open to partnerships and now they are. But again, this is just a great example of something where I wanted to do a partnership. I knew I wanted to give back to the community. So I reached out to them. We created this together. It ended up being my most favorite deal. A few next steps for you all to take out of today's video. Post more, post more, post more. I would say the best way to increase engagement and increase followers is to just be really consistent on your social media across all platforms. So collaborate with others, your teammates, your school, your athletic department, the businesses you are working with. Spend a few dollars to boost your own post. Continue to engage with content that features you, your teammates, and your school. Create short videos with trending audio. As we all know, the algorithms are consistently changing across all social media platforms. And a lot of times we are seeing content for people that we do not follow. A lot of times these are short videos with trending audio. So it might be a little uncomfortable at first, but trends come and go really fast. So try to be a little more consistent with short videos if you can. Be authentic and proactive. I know we all scroll on social media and we see deals where our initial thought is, how much did that athlete get paid to do that? Because it does not seem very authentic and genuine. So create content around things that you already use, around things that you know it's going to be easy to create content around, and be proactive. The more proactive you are, the better. The worst thing someone can do is say no to you, and that's not the worst thing, I promise. Target familiar brands first. So if you're not sure where to start, think about the products that you already use in your everyday life as a student athlete, how that can be incorporated into your content creation, or just think about local places you like to eat at a lot or study at a lot. Start to target things that you are really familiar with first. It's going to be a really good first step to get you going. Even if you're already familiar with NIL, work with a familiar brand that you love, you're comfortable with, and you can create really good, authentic content around. And then lastly, just using momentum of your key moments. A lot of athletes will post about something once and then never come back to it. Something such as a championship, a big win, draft day, or even graduation. I'm 2 years removed from college, and it would be really strange for me to post about my graduation now. So continue to post about those things. We always say milk the moment. Don't just post about it once and then never come back to it. As long as you're getting engagement from it, you should continue to post those things. So hopefully this helps, especially with posting more. That's definitely the biggest one. If this is something you struggle with, worry about quantity first and then quality. Maybe starting with once a week, just because a lot of our top runners are posting once to twice a day, which we know is not feasible for a lot of athletes. Content creation is a lot of work, but just trying to be as consistent as possible, posting more when you can, and not posting in the off season. So as we said, there is no dormant period in social media. You want your profile to be ready when you do have that big moment in the postseason. These are just a few starters to get you all going. And a lot of these things have something in common, and that these are things we do every day. These are things we might take for granted or that might seem really mundane to us, but these are things that our followers want to see a behind the curtain scene look at. So these are things that you can get really creative with, whether it's what I eat in a day or what are my fit checks to class, what do my facilities look like, really just the day in the life of a college athlete. Knowing that, hey, the name that you have on your jersey is a platform in itself. No one loves the people at a school more than the people regional to that school. So just really tapping into your fan base and knowing that this content is something that people don't typically see. So these are things that you will have access to really easily, being a college athlete. And so just tapping into these and seeing how you can increase engagement and followers on social media. I will be the first to tell you that even though I am in the professional space now, it's a lot harder for me to create content because I am not on a college campus. I'm not going to those classes anymore and around my college teammates. So really utilize these things while you have them, because this is golden content to your followers. That is all I have for today. Thank you for joining our NIL cheat codes presentation.